A colleague in our business that I have a huge amount of admiration for has always drilled into me about getting the flywheel spinning. When starting a new project or a change programme. Now what he meant by this was, in a project, create the conditions so that people can link the work back to the company vision and allow people to get involved and build upon the successes. Then step back and apply light touches every now and again. So you put a lot of effort up front in creating the momentum and the project and the corporate fit, and then you only have to provide little nudges every now and again to keep that wheel spinning. I guess a colleague of mine who's here today, Darryl Griffiths, I'm not sure where in the room he is, but what he classes management guru currency, Cotter's step 6 of the 8 steps of change, planning for and creating wins, is another way of looking at it. So some examples of getting that flywheel spinning would be under sustainable resources, a project that we're working on and that has the potential to transform part of our business from the traditional take, make and waste to just take and make. Another area under water efficient regions is moving people's mindsets from years of theorising and arguing their hypothesis to actually undertaking a large scale laboratory style experiment on a live network to truly understand what is happening out there on the network. Now both areas there that I've alluded to are what I'd class as transformational innovation projects, but there's also incremental examples that must also link back to our strategic business objectives. So again, thinking about water efficient regions, we're working on a project with frontline colleagues to totally re-engineer a process that's been custom and practice for decades, not just in our organisation, but across the water sector. Now this new process has the potential for creating better value and service for customers, partners and ourselves, as well as developing a new sector in the supply chain. Conscious that it doesn't show up too well on this screen. I think on the feed-out screens it's not too bad, this slide. But sustainability, you mentioned sustainability and it rings all sorts of things for different people. I have a thing about sustainability and how it applies to business. It's not about greenwash. It's not about tree hugging, as some may suggest and have suggested in the past to myself. For me, it's how we ensure that the business we're part of, the sector we're part of, is still able to serve its customers next year, in 10 years, in 25 years, in 50 years, and so on. I wonder how many companies listed in the FTSE 100 25 years ago are still in that FTSE 100 now. So to quote the late, great Ray Anderson, who was founder and chief exec of Interface Floor, I stood indicated as a plunderer, a destroyer of the earth, a thief of my grandchildren's future, and I thought, my God, someday what I do here will be illegal. Someday they'll send people like me to jail. Now, if you get the chance, it's worth having a look at Interface Floor and their website and Mission Zero around sustainability. It really is very inspiring, and there are direct things that you can take from just the website and apply back to your own organisations. So as a head of a department within Yorkshire Water, I carry a number of responsibilities. Responsibilities to our customers, our investors, our board, our directors, our directorates that we support and serve. But I also carry responsibilities to the colleagues who work within innovation delivery to ensure that they're clear on the direction of travel, how they fit into the sustainability of the business, and can see what we are doing has longevity, i.e. customers, investors, the board can see the value of innovation. So to ensure that we as a department are sustainable and have clarity of direction, we've developed this that's on the screen, a strategy map. It's got 4 perspectives with 12 clear objectives. 12 clear objectives that have measures and initiatives sitting behind each one. Now the map defines a clear goal. It also talks about what our customers will see and experience, the key processes we need to be really great at, along with the areas of focus from an organisational development perspective. So the value we will add and be demonstrated in 2015, so it's a 3-year strategy is this, by the progress of outcomes from our strategic business objectives, which will have been delivered through new thinking driven by innovation, categorised into two distinct areas, transformational and incremental. Colleagues and stakeholders at every level will value the contribution of innovation. This reputation established through facilitating effective operations, which will have contributed to the business, those operational excellence, but also influencing the longer-term thinking of Yorkshire Water and the sector. Internally, our processes are the engine room to driving this successful relationship with our customers, delivering our strategy through the implementation of effective and rigorous business processes within the departments, ensuring that the programme of work that we look at is balanced and identify and optimise our resource use both within and outside of the organisation. Now, the foundation to this approach is the team and constant desire to learn and develop. We're investing in collaborative approach to strengthen our knowledge networks, to bring new ideas into the business that will have a strategic fit with those business objectives that I mentioned. In addition, we're developing new technology to manage, share and increase our knowledge that will have a ripple effect, increasing innovation capacity across Yorkshire Water, our partners and beyond. The virtuous circle will provide us with the means to drive key themes through AMP5. Now, there's then that little thing called quantification or measurement. Now, when I was putting this presentation together, asked by Mark, Ian and Ron to come along and speak today, I was reminded of a colleague sending me a 4-line email in 2006 that stated what he wanted to do and a rough cost. Now, I went back to that email and just had a quick reread of it and a wry smile. There was no, and here's what I'm wanting to achieve. The cash flow will be, the benefits are, the connection back to the company vision is, I will measure in this way. Now, I guess with measurement or quantification, it's like Marmite, you either love it or hate it. I prefer to look at it another way. Do you want the pain of discipline or the pain of regret? Now, I'll always go for the pain of discipline, good governance. I love measurement, but accurate measurements, not pretend measurements, not measurement greenwash or whatever you want to call it, i.e. where we just guess and we make things up. Now, the team have worked very hard to ensure that we can link it back to individual performance. So really, I talked earlier on about instilling that performance management in the departments. We have an operational scorecard, developing a strategic scorecard that shows measures, targets, things like return on investments, time taken to deliver, our leverage along with our effectiveness. I think it's fair to say that when we first introduced this concept, some colleagues struggled, some so much so that they chose to leave the business, with comments like, how very dare you measure my performance. But if I didn't take this approach, I'm fairly certain I wouldn't be stood here talking to you today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for your listening to me ramble on, so it's felt perhaps. My parting quote would be, innovation comes from the producer, not from the customer. And on that note, I'd like to hand over to Mark Worsfold from Ofwat. I think the idea is Mark's going to present, and then if there's any burning questions or over coffee, we can take those then.